Hello, and this is my presentation video. My name is Andrew Reid Wildman. I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself and potentially about why I would like to work for the Cercle de Langue. So, about myself, first of all, question number one. Well, I grew up in Luxembourg, very much a European childhood. My father worked for the European Union, and I went to a European school. My nationality is, well, I have a UK passport, but I view myself as Scottish. And I live in France now. I've been living in France for 2 years. I live in Haute-Vienne with my partner. And one of my passions in my free time is art. I love painting, and I have a website where I sell my artwork. With regards to administration, I am an auto-entrepreneur in France. I have my own business with a Syrian number, and I work with another website where basically I send them a facture every month and pay contributions on that through URSSAF. I'm covered by the European Union withdrawal agreement because I was here before Brexit. So I'm classed as kind of like a European Union citizen. You ask about my availability to work. Well, I'm happy with 1 hour or 20 hours. I'm self-employed. I work around my customers. I don't generally work on Saturday, which is my free day, but I am available on Sundays, and I can be available one evening a week and any time during the week. So I'm pretty much easy and up to you. Let me just consult my notes. Sorry. Okay. You ask about my teaching experience. Well, I have a lot of teaching experience. So I've been working as a teacher for nearly 30 years. I started off giving private lessons, and then I got a job in a language school. I worked for Berlitz in Israel for a few years. And then I went to live in London, where I worked in various language schools before becoming a lecturer in a college of further education, where I taught English as a foreign language, and then ESOL. ESOL is pretty much the same thing, except it's designed for permanent residents and people who've been speaking English for many years. Within that experience, I have experience of all levels of English, from absolute beginner to the highest level of proficiency, and all the levels in between. I've taught English for specific purposes, including tourism, and of course, including business. And when I was working at EF, I did teach business English modules. I've taught groups, big groups, small groups, little groups, individuals. I've taught online, and that's primarily what I do now, is I teach English online through one-to-one lessons through a forum called Preply. So I'm very confident teaching online. It seems to be the way that things are going these days. And that would bring me neatly to my next point about my methodology. Well, this is a more difficult question because my methodology really varies according to who I'm teaching and in what circumstance. Primarily, I focus on communication. I think learning English is about communicating. It's not necessarily about getting grammar right all the time. I think grammar is important if it stops you from communicating, and for that reason, I want my students to make a good impression with grammar, but it's obviously not the be and it's not the be all and end all of learning English. So let's say, for example, I'm teaching a private lesson online. I like to do a little bit of flip learning, so I get the students to prepare something in advance of the lesson, and it could be as simple as watching a YouTube video or doing a reading online, and I prepare a list of questions and perhaps some target vocabulary from that, and then send it to the student, and then the lesson begins and we see where it goes. I make a note of any errors that are going on, and rather than necessarily interrupting somebody in the middle of their speech, which can undermine their confidence and stop the flow of conversation, I make a note of errors and possibly when they finish speaking, we can come back to those areas immediately. Or if it's a serious error, I can actually focus a lesson around it. Sometimes the focus of the lesson might be more about grammar, or not about the grammar as such, but about what the grammar can enable you to do. So, for example, today I want to talk about hypothetical situations, about our imagination, about what we would like to do in the future if we could. That could be conditionals. Or it might be talking about our future plans. And then I would focus on those three primary present tenses, future tenses in English, future with will, future with going to, future with present continuous, but to talk about real plans using the student's real experience. Occasionally I use photographs to teach. It's a great way to focus the grammar, to elicit the student's imagination about what the backstory could be, about what's going on, what's going to happen next. But I can really vary my technique according to the student. It might be that the student needs a lot of drilling. They might enjoy very precise grammatical explanations, and in which case I'm very happy to give it to them. If a student specifically asks me to translate something, I will. I don't have very rigid red lines when I'm teaching. My only point is I want to be communicative and I want to meet the student's needs. I want to be thorough. I want to make sure that I'm rigorous. I want to make sure that my lessons are challenging, that the students need to feel that they've worked hard in that lesson. So that's about my methodology. About my qualifications, I'm very qualified. I have a master's degree in Victorian Studies, but I've also got a diploma in TESOL. I've got a British teaching qualification called the PGCE, which enables me to teach in schools. And I've had all kinds of training as part of my professional development, safeguarding, health and safety, various teaching methodologies, how to use IT to teach. So I have a lot of experience. Bon, enfin, vous avez demandé si je peux parler le français et la réponse est oui, je peux très bien parler le français. Ça fait déjà 2 ans et demi que je vis en France. Et bien, j'ai grandi dans un pays anglophone, francophone, pardon, au Luxembourg, qui à l'époque-là, dans les années 70, c'était francophone officiellement. Et donc oui, je peux parler français et pour cette raison-là, je peux un peu comprendre les erreurs que font les Français, ce qu'on dit en anglais false friends, ce que je rencontre moi-même lorsque j'apprends le français, je comprends pourquoi les Français ils font ces erreurs-là. So that's a little bit about me, and I really hope to hear from you soon.